Greetings, I'm John Siegel, Senior Wealth Manager at Willis Johnson & Associates. It seems every few years we see some corporate reorganization at BP. Some of this reorg is driven by changes in the industry. Certainly, we've seen some challenges throughout the industry with lower global oil and gas consumption and low pricing on natural gas. Some is driven by changes within BP, like the Reinvent initiatives. With these reorganizations comes downsizing, and with downsizing come employee severances and severance packages. BP is currently committed to cutting $2 billion in cash costs from its budget as the company earnings have lagged. Some of these cuts are coming from current lines of business. Some of these cuts are related to projects being tabled, and the company is beginning to offer severance packages. BP's typical severance packages are designed around service crediting that ranges from 2 months severance for those with fewer than 2 years with the company to 16.5 months for those with more than 30 years of BP service. This payment is made lump sum as a final payroll payment, and the appropriate tax withholding is applied. BP's typical severance package also includes a number of other benefits. Continued medical and dental coverage at employee rates for 12 months if you timely elect COBRA coverage. If you are retiring with your severance package, you may be eligible to graduate to the BP retiree medical plan with a discounted contribution or by using your RRA cash benefit, depending on your date of hire. Additionally, BP will continue your life insurance coverage at no out-of-pocket cost to you for 12 months. BP severance packages usually include up to $5,000 of education reimbursement for reemployment courses. You should note that a few courses are precluded under IRS provisions, so if your heart is set on a new career in dog grooming or yoga instruction, you may have to pay for such certifications yourself. BP will also cover limited relocation reimbursement if you recently relocated within the last 2 years to accommodate your BP position. But there are other things to think about when it comes to planning around taking a severance package. These are not considerations written into BP's severance plan, but should be part of your own financial plan. Let's walk through some of those considerations. If you currently receive BP shares through the BP Share Value Plan, you may want to take steps to preserve some amount of those shares which have been granted to you but not yet vested. In coordination with your manager and at the discretion of the directors, as it is officially written into the Share Value Plan document, you can be granted what is called good leaver status. This status is granted under a plan to effectively transition out of your role by completing your projects and shifting your remaining duties to others. Under this good leaver status, you may retain your right to vest in your grant shares pro rata to the time you are working during the grant period. So, for instance, if you leave at the end of 2024, you might receive your 2022 grant in full in 2025, receive 2/3 of your 2023 grant the following year, and 1/3 of your 2024 grant in 2027. So if you participate in the Share Value Plan, you should seek to be granted good leaver status. While you have the income, you really want to maximize your savings while you can. Very few 401k plans have the ability to contribute as much as you can contribute with the BP's Employee Savings Plan. In 2024, you can contribute up to $30,500 if you are 50 years old or over in either pre-tax or Roth contributions. Additionally, you can make another $21,850 in non-Roth after-tax contributions. You also want to get the company match, so keep contributing a minimum 7% while you can. Also, with earned income, you can contribute another $8,000 if you are over 50 or $7,000 if you're less than 50 to a Roth IRA using the backdoor Roth strategy. And If you're on BP's high deductible plan, you want to be sure to maximize your HSA contribution of $4,150 if you're single, or $8,300 on the family plan, which includes BP's $1,000 single contribution or $2,000 family contribution. You also can contribute an additional $1,000 if you are 55 years of age or older. We have blogs and webinars on our Willis Johnson & Associates website library with greater detail on all these savings opportunities and the right way to save through these strategies. Also, our BP specialist advisors work with clients on leveraging these opportunities. Please reach out to us if you would like to have a complimentary consultation. There are two benefits that are particularly important to consider when it comes to elections when you are leaving BP. Your BP wrap pension and your excess compensation plan, and potentially an excess benefit plan. The excess compensation and excess benefit plans are important to immediately consider because they will pay out by default lump sum 14 months after you leave BP, unless you've already made annual elections to alternate the distribution timing. You still can change the timing of the benefit payout to occur anywhere from 74 months to 15 years after you leave BP, but you effectively have to make that decision in less than 2 months after you leave the company. Why would you change the distribution? It has to do with taxes, and we'll discuss that in just a little bit. With regard to the BP wrap pension, you have two primary election options. Take the pension as a monthly annuity, or take it as a lump sum and roll it over to your 401k or IRA. Briefly, the advantages when comparing the two options is that with the annuity, you have an income stream that is not subject to market volatility. With the lump sum, you have an asset that can be invested to keep up with inflation, unlike the flat annuity payment, and that, unlike the annuity, you can leave to your heirs. I want to make one thing clear. You do not have to make an election on the pension until your 65th birthday. Why not make an immediate election for the benefit? Well, first, it may be a tax question, which, as I mentioned earlier with the excess comp and excess benefit plans, is something we will touch on in a bit. The main reason, though, is getting the most out of your benefit. With the annuity, the earlier you start the benefit, the less you receive. You may have to wait what you need now versus what you really need later in order that you can make the most out of your pension benefit. With the lump sum, the consideration is about interest rates, or more specifically, segment rates, which are used for pension calculations. You have a cash balance that is tied to your BP wrap pension benefit. In higher interest rate environments, like what we have today, that cash balance is all that you will receive in lump sum. In lower interest rate environments, like what we had prior to early 2022, you can receive a higher amount than the cash balance. Now, this is only applicable if you started at BP prior to 2014. Now, considering this potential augmentation of the cash balance, it may be beneficial to wait to take the lump sum to see if interest rates might fall and enhance your cash balance benefit amount. Consider this example using some round numbers. Let's say you have a cash balance amount that at age 65 would provide you with a benefit of around $12,000 per month. That benefit would be expected to last you until you were almost 89 years old based on life expectancy tables. We have two scenarios. In scenario one, we look at the current interest rate environment. If you want to take your pension in October of this year, BP uses a 4-month look back to the segment rates in June 2024. These rates are listed here. In scenario two, we look at a low interest rate environment, like the one we had up until 2022. So here we are assuming we might see rates 2% lower than the current segment rates by, say, mid-2026. In this scenario, the difference is significant. There's a $200,000 increase in the lump sum just because you've received a 5% interest crediting to your cash balance, monthly compounded for 2 years. You also receive a significant augmentation in your cash balance just because these segment rates, as I mentioned, are lower. Now, here's the question. Do we think rates will be lower in the future? Maybe. We are seeing signs of slowing inflation and potential rate cuts. Now remember, this is only applicable to folks who joined BP prior to 2014. If you are in that group, this is sort of a win-win decision. It may pay to wait because you can get that minimum 5% interest crediting while you're waiting to grow your cash balance, and you have the potential of getting more based on the segment rate calculations. Many other advisors might encourage the immediate rollover of the pension lump sum so they could invest it immediately. Because we at Willis Johnson & Associates are true fiduciary advisors, we are mostly telling our clients to wait on their lump sum election where it's prudent to do so, because we have their best interest in mind. So I want to come back to some of what I've alluded to as the major driver behind how you make your elections. When we think about the timing of elections and distributions, we are really thinking about taxes. You potentially have a lot of taxable income coming to you if you're leaving BP. First, you have salary and bonus to date and your current year SVP vesting. Your severance pay will be paid just like your regular salary. Your excess comp plan and your excess benefit plan will be paid 14 months after you leave the company without any other elections. This can create a huge income and income tax pileup within a couple of years. That pileup is not tax efficient. So there are two things to consider: timing and elections. Timing your departure from BP will impact when certain distributions come to you. So will your elections. So think about it this way. You now have high income. If you move to another position after BP, you may continue to have high income. However, there's likely a large trough in your income after you retire and before you are required to begin taking distributions from your retirement portfolio. So rather than go from high peak to low valley, we like to plan smart timing and election decisions to help you smooth the income hit by better spreading out your taxable income and retaining more after tax of what you've earned. And that is how I and my colleagues at Willis Johnson & Associates help our BP clients with analysis, with planning, with implementation decisions, so they can maximize their benefits that they have accrued in their years with BP. Thank you for tuning in today. If you would like to see more of our content, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or through our website, wjohnsonassociates.com. Please reach out to us if you would like to have a complimentary consultation with one of our BP specialist advisors. Cheers.